Hey there.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I'm really tired, but I'm good.
Oh, I bet. Always before release, you guys are getting hammered pretty hard.
Yeah, and we had really rough festival weekend in Portugal.
Oh
Our
no.
flight canceled back, and we had to drive from Portugal to Spain to find new flights. And now I'm flying to Athens to do some music video shooting. I'm stuck in Paris still for 2 hours, so been
Oh,
living on the airports lately quite a
oh
quite.
my goodness. Which, I mean, traveling, especially through flying anyways, is exhausting. So then, yeah, when you have all those complications on top of it,
It
geez.
doesn't make it easier, but it's everybody's struggling with the flights at the moment. So
Yeah, yeah. Seems like it comes in groups. So you said you're going to be doing a recording of a video in Athens. Is that going to be the third release for Wolfheart?
I'm actually editing the third video of Wolfheart at the airport, but I'm and in Athens I'm doing a video for our guitar player Vagelis. He has a
Okay.
band in Athens, so I'm doing some video work for them. But
Nice. Nice, nice. Cool. Well, I am sorry that you're having such a heck of a time. Have you been doing a lot of interviews today?
this is the only one, luckily.
Oh,
I moved
good.
the other ones for tomorrow because it's airport is not that easy place to find like a quiet corner either. So
Right. Oh my gosh. Okay, well let's dig into it then so we can get you done. So the album, I mean, gosh, it's a little over 2 weeks that it's going to be coming out. Um, wow. Compositionally, it's incredible. It's an incredible album. I usually try to pick favorites of songs, like I'll not necessarily try to pick favorites, but as I listen to an album over and over, there'll naturally be one or two favorites that stick out. And so I started even trying to concentrate on, okay, which one is my favorite on this album, and I can't pick one. They're all so incredibly strong, and that is awesome.
yeah. Well, we had the similar problem when we started picking up the single songs, and we even had like a kind of like argument with the label because we couldn't narrow it down to three.
Yeah.
We have to release four singles. We can't skip any of the like we can like half of the songs we could painfully decide not to do singles because it wouldn't make any sense, but we have to have four singles. Of course, they didn't agree in the end, and making four videos would be quite heavy, like budget and work wise. But yeah, it's just it came out quite well. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it's a beautiful album. So I was thinking they only usually did four singles before the album dropped, but they're doing, or sorry, three, but they're doing
Yeah,
four.
we are gonna release like one after the release.
Okay.
There's a follow-up video because what happened with the previous album that was mainly because of the pandemic, but the lifespan of the album was 2 weeks. So now we wanted to have a one single that is coming after the album release, after the European tour, but
Okay.
before we go to North America. So there's like longer follow-up for the album. So whatever happens in the world, this album doesn't die that quickly like the previous one. That,
Was
that was hard.
Are you talking about Skull Soldiers?
No, no, no. I'm talking about the Wolves of Karelia.
Oh my goodness. So you
That,
just mean because you weren't able to piggyback tour off of it, not because it
yeah,
wasn't received well, because I feel like it was received very well.
it was received really well, but we moved like all the singles like in a very like a fast schedule. We moved them just before the release. There was one single was supposed to come out after the album was out, but we made that as a fourth single of that album because the whole world started to shut down, and we already knew that we are going to lose all the tours. And there was like countries in Europe where all the record stores were closed.
Mhm.
Nobody was able to buy the album on the release week. There was we did this uh, like signature album campaign with this one American company, Samsbury Comics or something like that.
Oh,
And
Newsberry, probably.
it might be that, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
some comic, weird name for a
I
company,
know.
like
Great.
album bundles. But the lockdown started there the same week. They were supposed to send the pre-orders with the signatures, but they were not allowed to go to the warehouse.
Oh my
Because all
gosh.
the businesses, like in every continent and country, we had something similar happening, and it was just damage control all the way. There
Oh,
was none of. So yeah, that didn't feel good. No.
I'm sure not. Yeah. Well, and then you did Skull Soldiers in the middle of it. Well, I mean, that was what, last year
Yeah.
in the middle of it all, which I mean was an EP, but still, you know, and that's where we had chatted. And I
Yeah.
feel like when you had started a clean vocal track.
Yeah.
So was that kind of the introduction to the evolution of what you were going to be doing on this next album, or did you know that that's what you were going to be doing, moving
I
into
knew
more
that.
cleans?
I knew that already when I was writing Wolves of Karelia. I knew
Okay.
the direction where we want to go. I naturally was aware how good Laura can do, our bass player can do the clean vocals. I was very familiar of Vangeli's vocal, like a range, but he joined the band just a few weeks before we went to studio with Wolves of Karelia. So he just came in too late to have a bigger role on that album. So, but I already knew that what's going to happen with the vocals. What is the, like, I wanted to push the music more into the debut album direction. And yeah, it was very clear already like 2 years ago what is going to happen with the album now.
So, were you nervous, because you guys have diehard fans that have been with you guys for a long time? Were you nervous moving in that direction of how it was going to be accepted? Because I feel like from what I've noticed and what I've seen, I feel like it's been accepted very, very graciously and very well. But were you nervous about that?
Not at all, because it's not something any songwriter should be nervous about. You can only write the music you feel at that point that this is what I want to write. If you start thinking what the fans might think, what the other people think, then you become like a jukebox.
Yeah.
You are just trying to please the majority of your fans by guessing what they might want to hear on the next album. That's completely like an impossible equation. And of course, there's going to be some fans. I have seen really weird comments. Like the King was the first single that we have, one of the band members is doing clean vocals, not even like very clean, but they're like just like a distorted rock sound clean. And there was already one comment like me abandoning all the old fans, like come on, you haven't even heard 3 songs of the album yet. And it's like that's how people judge sometimes. And so if you try to like prepare for that or try to please people, it's gonna lead even worse. And of course, naturally, I believe that every music has a potential to find new fans also. I'm not just writing for the people who bought the first album 8 years ago, but you just need to focus on making good music. And if the label doesn't fuck it up completely and the world doesn't shut down again and there's no third world war, maybe we get some new fans also.
Right. Well, and it's got to be sincere to you, right? Or else you're going to start hating what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly. Because yeah, those are the songs that I hopefully will play on tour for the next 2 years.
Right.
So first of all, I need to like all the material I'm writing. It doesn't help if I don't like the music and everybody in the audience comes to shake my hand. You know, they are waiting in line. They're gonna shake my hand and say that was the best music in the world. I would still feel really bummed because I didn't enjoy the 1 hour on the stage. So that's the balance.
And you can tell when musicians are not enjoying what they're doing. I'm sure, you just going to concerts yourself, you can tell when the people up there are not loving what they're doing.
It's really wrong kind of energy that is reflected on the stage to the audience. And you can see, you can notice, everybody can notice if somebody is sincerely happy.
Yeah.
Or enjoying himself. And that is the energy that the audience picks up automatically. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So along with the many songs that you have, I mean, so you have 3, well, 5 if you want to count the guest stars as well, different vocals going on, and they all collaborate so incredibly well. When I first saw that you were collabing with Jesse, like initially I thought, oh, that's a really weird mix. And then I remembered Skull Soldiers and I was like, no, I get what they're doing and I get where this is going to go. So when I heard it, I mean, it's like a magical song and magical collaboration. How did that come about? I know that he obviously is a big Wolfheart fan. So how did you end up getting him on board?
Well, that's at least to me, that's a really cool story. Is the announcement bothering you?
No,
They are,
I can hardly hear it.
Good, that's really good because it starts to get noisy again.
Oh no.
Apparently, there's flights departing in the airport.
Oh well, that's good. At least people are getting able to get on their flights.
But it's the whole thing went like we were already mixing the album last October, and I got an Instagram message from one Russian fan sending me a link to Jesse's Instagram story, and he had one of our songs playing in the background, and I didn't have any connection with Jesse. We don't share any business side connections with management or agency. There's just our path has never crossed in any way. But he was a huge like a vocal idol when Killswitch Engaged Alive or Just Breathing came out. I was still like learning the whole thing. I never picked up that style as a vocal, but I really liked what he was doing. And yeah, I was kind of like a fanboy. I had to write a comment like good choice of music. And then he replied like, it's nice to talk to you. I've been a fan of the Wolfheart for some years now. And one of my friends introduced me to your band and started asking how things are going. He said new music coming out. And I thought, well, we are at the studio at the moment. He was asking how things are going at the studio and stuff like that. I sent him some songs. He was like, this is kind of music that I would really want. Like, this is right my style that I would like to do vocals. I was like, well, I'm the right guy to arrange that.
Right.
Yeah, so it went just on its own way. Like we just started like exchanging messages, and then we are suddenly doing the song already. So it's a very unusual way of going. Usually it goes management talking to another guy in management, having some favors owed to somebody, and somebody pays money to somebody, and then you get one MP3 file of tracks and you get to put the name on the cover, but this was completely different.
You know what? And I love that for so many different reasons. I mean, because it's such a genuine way of going about it, but also, in my opinion, on the outside, you and him are very similar personality wise. You're both very genuine, sincere people that have important things to say, and you do it more through like storytelling, where he does it more probably directly. But I was just like, oh my gosh, I would love to have been like a fly in the wall with the two of you, because you're just both such good people, and I just thought it was wonderful that you guys ended up being able to do that together. What a cool thing.
Sadly, we still haven't met.
Oh, because he did it through.
Yeah, and because I'm not very picky when it comes to like the format of communications. Most of the stuff we were actually talking in Instagram chats.
How
just messaging each other, not even WhatsApp or anything. Some emails were exchanged, but the first time we were actually kind of talking, was we did this Cardabox YouTube, like a vocal reaction.
I watched that one. That was pretty cool.
That was the first time we were in each other's presence in some way.
That's so funny.
And I'm tired now, but I'm like normal person tired.
Yeah.
But there was only one time slot that was available for the Cardabox guys, and that was 2 a.m. in Finland.
Oh my gosh.
I had to go to work. I had to wake up 5 o'clock to work. So I like slept 1 hour, woke up for that, went back to sleep for 2 hours. When I woke up, I wasn't even sure, did I actually do the interview? What?
I just dream it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure when you guys are able to meet face to face, it'll be like old friends at this point.
Like you said, he's super genuine guy. He lacks completely this kind of ego thing that in some level, most of the musicians, at least in certain level, have. It just comes automatically. It's not even a negative thing, but like being in certain position kind of like sticks into your persona a little bit. You don't need to be an asshole or rock star, but being instantly so like present and real person. It's not very like it doesn't happen very often.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Well, while he has some, genius level with vocals that obviously he, as he had mentioned in that video, still is trying to perfect and work on, you got the geniusness of composition. Your composition is, I mean, the whole next level, especially on this album. Every time I've listened to it, I hear different soundscapes in the background that I maybe didn't notice, the previous listen, which is really cool. Lots of like orchestral piano type sounds, especially in the last track, how it starts off, just like that soft and beautiful sound before it, jumps right into more of the Wolfheart sound, but just so creative and so beautifully done. I very, very much enjoyed listening to it. Every time I go to listen to it again, I get excited again, and that's really cool to be able to have that experience, because that's not, super common anymore. It's hard to have that, not to have that feeling with music, because music gives you that feeling anyways, but to really like make you want to listen. It's not background music. It kind of demands your attention, and I think that's really cool, and you've accomplished that very well in this album, especially all your albums, but this album I just feel like it's a whole other level for Wolfheart.
That is good to hear. That is good to hear.
Yeah. So how do you feel like you approached this album differently because you did kind of do a different evolution as far as the arrangements and the composition?
A little bit differently, because I already knew that there's going to be 3 vocalists in the band already. So if I write only for me as a vocalist, then my growling is more like a percussion. It doesn't carry a melody. It's more like one of the drums just giving accents and rhythms. So then I need to put different kind of pressure on the melodies with the guitar or the melodic side of the riffs. But now I had 2 completely new instruments and a human voice carries a different emotion than any guitar or piano or whatever. It gives a different persona also for the song, because each guy brings something actually from them,
Right.
from them all. It's a very personal instrument. So yeah, that gave me a lot of a freedom when it comes to songwriting also, because just writing for myself as a vocalist, that is certain box already where I stand in.
Right.
I know my limits, and they are pretty clear to me, at least what I can do and what I can't. But now that I have the 2 vocals more, that allows me to write a lot more freely and more diverse.
Was that difficult for you 3 to be able to find the natural harmonies that sounded right, or was that a natural thing as well to be able to do that?
It went super smooth, and one of the reasons why it went so smooth is the producer and sound engineer Saku, who did also the mixing, because he did both Dawn of Solace albums that was released in the past 2 years. And because such a great work he did for both albums, we decided to hire him to do Wolfheart. And this is the first time we are using a new guy in Wolfheart ever. But he has especially really good a touch and connection with clean vocalists in general.
Okay.
And it was a group effort of 4 guys doing the vocals. But it was super smooth and easy, and we have had Lauri has been doing some clean vocals in our acoustic versions already. That was nothing new, and like I said, I was very familiar with Vagelis's vocal stuff already, so nothing was new when we went to studio and started working with the vocals. It was just figuring the best balance and dividing the roles, who's gonna do which song and which part.
Right. So I'm curious, since you get to play part of the trio now, as far as vocals, how is that playing live? Does that take a lot of pressure off of you, so that way you can focus more on the musical elements and the showmanship, or do you feel like it puts more pressure on you because then you have to do the harmonies with the other 2?
That's a good question. There's the answer goes both ways. Like it takes the pressure off from my vocals. It's like when the sets are getting longer, hopefully future we do more festivals, our status rises up on the tour, so we get to do longer sets on each tour. 30 gigs in a row is quite much for growling vocals. So it makes it easier for me. I can put more effort on the vocals that I have to do because I get little pauses. It will make the whole thing better for me and also for the audience. Naturally, I really enjoy like just listening to our music when we play it and having those their vocals added there. It's just gonna make it even more cooler. But that will increase the amount of my time on the stage just standing with my guitar, which is not a good thing necessarily. Like
do you feel awkward or?
I feel really awkward. Yes.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, when you're used to being kind of the frontman, you are able to just do your frontman thing. So it's trying to adjust to a kind of a different persona on stage.
I don't think it's going to be like an actual problem at all, but if something is going to increase my awkwardness on that moment, like because I don't really do this showmanship kind of thing at all anyway. So and then again, I do enjoy doing the growling a lot. So it's it goes both ways.
Yeah, that makes sense. So the I did some research and I want to make sure that I'm correct in what the album's about. It's a Finnish mythology album. Is it about Tapio?
He's like part of the Finnish mythology.
Okay.
He's not part of the stories that I wrote the album about.
Okay, he is not.
Yeah. The thing is like with Finnish mythology, especially compared to like Norwegian, which is the best example how far they are from each other. Norwegian mythology is very clear, insanely well documented. They even have the churches and the Viking ships. Like it's concrete, cultural, religious, pagan thing. Finnish mythology, we didn't have, it was nothing that strong. It was more like tales and beliefs that were passed on to generations or spoken to another village. So it's a lot of like a scattered small stories and interpretations, in many cases of the same thing, like in different regions of Finland and completely different versions, how the Northern Lights were born. One part of Finland thought it was a burning tail of a fox running in the skies. One part of the Nordic countries believe it's a whale, and with its tail it's splashing the water, and the moon somehow colors the water. And one really cool interpretation is that the people who are in the Finnish version of Underworld that were murdered or killed with violence, they are still bleeding in there, and that blood is coloring the sky.
Oh, wow.
But there's so many different like versions. That's the Finnish mythology. It's just like a real people believes without any like structural like a religion kind of thing. And even the main book of Finnish mythology, Kalevala, that is the like the foundation of all the lyrics for Amorphis, for example. That is a compilation. The author just went from village to village back in the days and gathered the stories and made one whole. But it's just hundreds of small stories that I was digging into.
Wow, man, that sounds really complicated, but also gives you a lot of room to be able to breathe. And you as a lyricist do a really good job of mixing in really important life aspects into these stories, and so that way it's not you just telling a story, it's also like kind of like a philosophical underpinning where people can get important things for life nowadays off of the stories. In my opinion, that's how I feel like you write. That's what my interpretation is. But that gives you room to be able to do that. So I mean, would you agree? Do you feel like that's something that you do?
Yeah, I definitely I try not to preach about anything. I don't see that as a role of music anyway, or any art. Art should be out from that like that thing completely. But I do like I do agree what you said. It's like I'm not trying to tell people anything. I'm just saying things aloud in general that I kind of like mix into the lyrics, and yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You definitely do have some philosophy mixed in with your lyrics, but I definitely agree that it's not like a preachy type of way. It's more of a storytelling, but in and I mean, good books have a lot of philosophy in them anyways, so it's just like reading a really good book. I don't know if I asked you before. Do you read?
No.
No, I couldn't remember if I'd asked you before. So Carl Sanders is the other guest vocalist you have on there, which definitely like aligns more with, you know, your style of music. How did you go about getting him on board?
Well, there was a part on the song called Cold Flame that really needed very like monster sounding growling, and I did my best, but yeah, I have my limits. That's not the style even that I do with the growling. And that was actually that part of lyric was about the Northern Lights being born. But that comes, and because of the lyric was also quite grim compared to the other ones that were more like nature based and bears and forests and creation of the sky and the Nordic realm in general. So it needed some like a more death metal sounding voice to underline the lyrics also. And Vagelis knows George Kolias really well, who is a drummer of Nile. And we've been using the same sound engineer in North American and European tours that they have. There's also one guy from Athens. So I had very like easy link to ask Carl, would he be interested? And I really like the idea that he's so respectful and so into the mythology in general with Nile. That's he's
right.
digging really deep with the
Egyptian, right?
And the history of that. So I knew that he would probably appreciate the theme of the album also. That it wouldn't just be something that he just gets done, but he understands this like approach to the album also.
Right. Yeah. No, that makes sense. And it's so funny because there's so totally different types of guest vocalists, but somehow on the album it just works, and it's so crazy. It's the craziest thing to hear how naturally it flows when there's so many different voices going on, you know.
That is true. I actually didn't even think about it myself that there is five different vocalists.
Yeah.
When there used to be one, so that is quite a big change. But to me also, when we were writing the vocal parts and recording, none of them sounded like it's just added there.
Yeah, definitely
So
not.
And what was really funny to me when I was doing the editing for the Ancestor video, and we got the clips from Jesse he did naturally in a different studio in North America. We shot in Finland, and he even looks like he could be a member of Wolfheart.
Oh yeah.
He doesn't stand out like negative way at all.
No.
It's kind of like everything on the video and the song just sounds like it should be, even though it's completely different we've ever had. So
yeah, no, I agree 100%. And speaking of videos, the King video, oh my gosh, the imagery is so beautiful. Did you film it in Finland?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful.
It's one of the most like the most famous attractions in Lapland that we went.
Well, even just like the crispness of the video itself, or how it's done. I don't understand that side of things at all. So I don't know how or why, but it was just very, the only word I can keep thinking of is crisp. It was very clear. It was very vivid. You know, there was a lot of just a different type of imagery than I feel like I've seen in any other videos. Like when the hands in the water, like it's such a clear picture. I can't think of how to word it, but it's a beautiful video.
Yeah, it's that I've done all my videos with, there's only two guys in a crew. It's the camera guy and then it's me, and he's responsible of how it looks so good. He's like an insane level professional. He does a huge amount of money, and it's like a very high ranking like photographer, and he does TV and movie work and stuff like that. He could just, but he likes to do videos for us and works with me with the pennies compared to the thousands he makes in his day job. But we make a really good team. We actually did the last parts of the next video yesterday.
Oh, awesome. I'm excited. You probably can't say what it is yet, right?
It comes out in less than 2 weeks. Yeah, it comes out 2 days before the release.
Yeah.
But I don't want to mention anything about the video. But
I figured not. Napalm has an algorithm. Like at this point, I know how they do things, and so I'm like, okay, yeah, 2 days before a release is the new. And it's so smart. It's so smart how they do it. But I always get anytime I do an interview with a Napalm artist, I'm always like, oh, I want to know what the next one is. But I can be patient. Is there any songs that you are nervous about playing, or you're really excited about playing live on this album?
Gold Flame is something that I'm very, very excited to play. There's nothing that I'm nervous about. It didn't come out that fast or technical. Like Wolves of Karelia had a few songs that we would have been very nervous, everybody in the band, to play those songs live. Like they're a little bit too fast and a little bit too technical, especially for the tuning we use. It's not just like it would be difficult to play, but my guitar is basically between guitar and a bass. So some of my strings are thicker than there is strings in 5-string bass. So that doesn't really like that's not a good instrument for like a certain kind of like playing. But yeah, not nervous. Very excited of most of the songs. Some songs I already always know when the album is done that these are not going to be in the set list. This is just an album song.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you because I really like the song Headstones. Is that one that you think will make it onto the list or not? No. What about Nell?
That yes.
Okay.
That's gonna fit. Like, well, we are still playing like we are still supporting on the tours, which does make sense all the way. But that means that we play like 40 minutes, max 45 minutes. 6 albums already. There's a lot of songs in the previous album. Like even just adding 1 song from each album and 2 songs from new album, it's over 40 minutes. So that also like and Headstones, I really like the song and how it builds up, but the beginning is a little bit too long for this kind of set list. To play over, that would be a good breather for the vocalists in general to do the first part, and then there's the mellow part, and then the vocals comes in. But when you only have like 40 minutes, that means basically 7 or max 8 songs. It's the choice is different then.
You need to do some headlining tours.
Sadly, nobody is asking us yet what kind of tours we are doing. So we are doing the ones that are given.
Well, get ready for that, because I would not be surprised if this album changes that. I just wouldn't be surprised. So get ready to add Headstones. Oh, it's a great album. I know you're tired. You're in the process of trying to get on your stupid flight. I really appreciate you again taking time out for me. I so much enjoy talking to you. You're such just a good human, and I love being able to speak to musicians that are that, because like you said, it's not always how it is. So thank you so much.
It was the best part of the day. Easily.
Oh, good. Well, I hope so, because it's been a pretty terrible day.
Well, today it has been actually quite okay. The weekend was horrible when we were coming from Portugal and ended up flying home from a completely different country. So like the gig ended 20 minutes after the show. We were in a van, we had to drive 6 hours to reach Madrid, where we waited 4 hours for the plane. Then we sat on the plane 4 hours. Then we drive home for 2 hours. So
oh my gosh,
we started traveling at like midnight, and I was home on the next day 7 in the evening. So,
oh my goodness, that's crazy. Do you have a favorite? I mean, I know you guys, especially when you're traveling, don't really get to see the country a whole lot, but do you have a favorite place that you've traveled to that you just enjoy the culture, the environment, or the nature, or whatever?
Athens is clearly. That's why I'm going there now. Like I'm doing the music video for the guys anyway, but that takes 1 day. I'm staying 5, so that's,
oh, good for you.
That tells something. And I think it's my 9th or 10th trip to Athens already. Like I started going to Athens before I knew Vangelis or anybody that is connected with the band now. So that's
How long of a flight is it for you?
well, now it's 3 hours. I hope it's at least 3 hours because I need that time to finish the video.
Oh my goodness.
So that's
Oh my goodness.
3 hours would be a good flight because then I have enough time to be with my laptop.
And people who are going to visit Athens, where are one or two places that they absolutely must go see?
The Acropolis area, anyway, the historical center. Then any place there is like a, well, compared to Finland, Finland is less than 150 years old, and a lot of the like the old cities or the old cool areas of the capital were bombed in the Second World War. So we don't. Our history is in the forests and the bedrock and the lakes. When you go to Athens, those temples were built thousands of years ago. That gives it that's a completely different level of history and culture. So I like the what is the word? Well, the difference is huge. When you go from Finland to Athens and you really see that what you've seen in some of the movies actually took place here, and this that was real, that was going on. So it's yeah.
Not a rebuilding of it, it's what was actually there at that time. Yeah. And what about in Finland? I mean, you said that, you know, it's kind of more of a new place, but nature wise, what are some places that people should visit there? It's such a beautiful country. Okay.
In any area, when you reach the Nordic Circle, then any area, it's just but I not just that I do love Finland. I naturally think Finland is the best country in the world. But if you are already in Lapland and you're with the car, everybody should have like a 1 day extra and drive to Norway also, because the coast of northern Norway is the most beautiful place in the world.
Oh, really?
With the
Do a lot of people fish off there?
Huh?
Do a lot of people fish off there?
I guess so. They are one of the richest countries in the world because the oil. So most of the Norwegian can just buy their fish in the store. They don't need to like see much effort for the food anymore. But it's if you go to Lapland, you should see the whole Lapland, which includes also northern Norway, because that's the best looking place in the world.
I need to travel more. I need to see these places. I am terrible about traveling and I really want to. So I need to, and those are some of the places that are on my list. So I'm always curious what places to see if I get to start, you know, knocking off some of these places.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Well, enjoy your vacation after the work part, and congrats on an incredible release coming up. I'm really excited for you guys. I'm really excited to see how everybody else responds. But I love it. I think it's incredible. So thank you so much for putting out some amazing music during these continually rough times.
Rough is a good word. Yeah, it's not the nicest place to be. Have the longest border with Russia at the moment.
Yeah.
They are fucking up things really badly for everybody at the moment. So
for sure, yeah, it's scary thing.
I just go day by day. I don't want to stress about it because it's not that I can do anything about it now anyway. So
yeah.
We'll see.
Well, and we know how important music is when it comes to difficult times, because it's what gets us through. And so what a huge part you get to play in helping people's mental health and sanity, you know.
Well, it helps me. That's the way I keep myself sane. It's right in the music. So it goes both ways.
Yeah, which is awesome.
I think I need to run. They are starting to book my flight. So
yes, really do not miss your flight.
Talk again in the future. Bye.
Sounds good. Bye.